Greetings, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. I get this question a lot from women. They are wanting to know how to transform. Oh, excuse me. I had good coffee this morning. They're asking, how do I transform my life, myself, so I can transform my relationships, my career, my business? I always tell you guys, transformation is always inside out. That's the way it is, inside out. And so I have done so over the last 20 years. I've done so. And I coach women all over the world to help them to do so. So I know exactly what is required to transform the inside of you so you can transform your reality, the outside of you. So I am going to share with you guys because I really do want to help women. I think I really want to help women to understand the power that they truly have in the world to create change, transformation, happiness, happy relationships, happy careers, happiness in every area of their life. Granted, your life is not going to be happy every single day. You're going to have challenges because that's just the nature of life. But there's a way for you to get through challenges internally. And there's a way for you to make things easier internally. And so one of the things I had to do, I have worked with over the last 10 years, more than 10 years, maybe the last 15 years, I've worked with therapists and coaches. I also became a hypnotherapist. I did hypnotherapy with clients all over the world for 5 years. And I began to deeply understand the power of the brain and the mind, the subconscious mind, and how they were creating these previous clients I worked with as hypnotherapy clients. And I also have, for you guys who don't know, I have my free hypnotherapy tracks that I did. I used to do so many tracks. I have like 3 tracks that I saved on my SoundCloud. If you go to SoundCloud and search for Rashida Marriage Mindset Coach, you'll see I have some free hypnotherapy soundtracks on there to reprogram the subconscious. So most people are operating their behaviors, they're operating at a subconscious level. They're not really present with themselves to hear how their thoughts and their feelings are creating their behaviors, are creating their choices, and the behaviors and choices they're making every day are creating the lives they're living, are deciding who they choose in relationship, are deciding how they let people treat them, are deciding if they do or do not stand up for themselves, if they do or do not go after the things they want. They're operating on the subconscious level. So when I began to study the brain and the mind as a hypnotherapist and create content to really help people to start changing their beliefs, their internal beliefs, what was crazy was as they were changing their internal beliefs, their whole lives started shifting. So I began to deeply see the power of just changing your beliefs and feeling different feelings and how those two things shifted everything in their lives. I believe that because we've been given free will by the creator of the universe, that we can use our free will for good or we can use it for not so good. That's why we have a choice. You see people creating amazing things in the world, and you see people creating not so amazing things in the world because we all have a choice. So one of the things you can do every day to start to really see the inside of you and start to see how your beliefs are showing up in your life is you're going to have to start listening to your thoughts. We all have an inner voice. A lot of us have a very critical inner voice. I've heard people's inner voices as like I said, was a hypnotherapist for 5 years. And the things I heard sometimes were shocking, the things they were saying to themselves all day. And these things were normally on a loop, like in a tape in their head. They were saying things to themselves like, I don't feel good enough. I'm not smart. I'm not pretty. I'm not lovable. Just so much negativity. And that was causing them to behave in negative ways or allow people to treat them in negative ways or not go after the things they wanted, not believe in themselves, not believe they could have the things they wanted. And I need to share my background. I think I've shared my background before, But I started doing these practices that I didn't even know were practices when I was younger. There's something on my phone, it's bugging me. So I grew up in poverty and dysfunction in the inner city of Philly, for you guys who've heard my story before. And I have overcome a lot in my life to get to the point where I am today. And of course, I give all thanks and praise to God. And I also have seen how He has gifted me with the power to make things different through my own thoughts and feelings. I remember being a kid and visualizing the life that I wanted to create when I was like 15. I remember visualizing the life I wanted to live, the home I wanted to live in, the kids, the marriage, all this stuff. I used to visualize it. And what I learned later down the road is whatever your brain sees, it thinks it's real. It can't tell that this is something fake versus something real. So I used to spend a lot of time in visualization. I don't do it as much anymore, but that's one thing you can do is visualization to sort of see yourself in the place you want to go. And then you're going to have to start being real intentional with what you're thinking, with your thoughts. So you're going to have to start to hear critical negative thoughts throughout your day about yourself, even about others. Because the negative critical thoughts you're thinking about others, I believe this, are being redirected to yourself. And they're probably thoughts you're thinking about yourself too. So when you're thinking negative thoughts about someone else, that's really about you. So you want to start flipping your thoughts. You want to start, like, say you hear a thought like, I don't think I'm good enough to have that or do that. You want to right then and there say no. You want to say, no, I can do that, and I will do that, and I am good enough, and I am smart enough, and I am beautiful, and I am whatever you need to say to counteract the negativity inside of you. And one of the other things you can do is when you catch those negative thoughts and you create a new positive, more affirming, loving thought, a kind thought, you want to write a collection of those new positive, affirming thoughts on your bathroom mirror. Because it will start to, as you see it every day, you see those thoughts, I love and accept myself, I'm worthy, I'm powerful, I'm smart, I'm successful, whatever the list is, I can accomplish anything, whatever your list of positive affirming thoughts are on your bathroom mirror, put them in a bright color, red marker, red lipstick, something bright. What will happen over time is as you're just coming out the bathroom shower and you're saying those thoughts to yourself, you're going to create in your brain a new neural pathway. So this is neuroplasticity, which is a science of how our brain operates. And we're able to rewire our brain. We're able to create a new pattern of thinking in our brain versus what we've been saying to ourselves for 10 years, 15 years. And a lot of the thoughts you've been saying to yourself were thoughts that were implanted in your head by your parents or the society you grew up or your family. So you're going to have to start to create a new way of, literally a new way of thinking, literally a new brain is what you're creating. And what you'll see over time, it'll blow your mind, is as you're starting to say these new positive, affirming, loving, kind things to yourself, you'll start to believe them. And you'll become the person who's thinking that way, not the negative way. You'll be thinking the positive way. And then your behaviors will change. And then your choices will change just because you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways in your brain. And the older, more negative neural pathways are dying and they're not being fed and nurtured by your negativity. So that's one thing you can do. Over time, that you'll start to see the difference in how you think about yourself and how you think about others. And once your beliefs change, then again, your behaviors and your choices will naturally change. I've used this for years and years. I've literally created the life that I wanted just from affirming to myself something different. When I first started my business, I worked with multimillionaire business coaches who taught me about the energy of money and about thoughts and money. And literally I started to write down the amount of money that I wanted to create every year. And I kept increasing the number, and I would get to the number just from seeing the number in front of me, just from seeing it and affirming that I was going to create that number. So I do believe in the power of the brain and the mind. The second thing you want to do is a lot of people, this is why I tell people to invest in therapy and coaching, is because a lot of people have unhealed, unprocessed emotions in their body. And those unprocessed, unhealed emotions are making you feel not good about yourself, or making you feel that you can't have the things you want, or making you feel that you're not worthy. And the more you can just start to feel your feelings every day, when you're feeling down, when you're not feeling good enough, when you're feeling sad, whatever the negative feeling is, if you would just connect to the feelings, and you can work with someone to do this with you, to bring those feelings to the surface and express those feelings, I promise you, you're going to start to feel lighter, more happier, more optimistic, more faithful, more trusting. And then the third thing I recommend is that you need a spiritual relationship to God. We all need one. We all have souls in our bodies, spirits in our bodies, and we all have to be connected. And what this does is the connection to God, what it does is seeing something outside of yourself that has ultimate control in your life and can create miracles in your life and can create so many possibilities in your life, will give you a level of faith and trust and security that you're going to need to create the life or the relationship or the business or the career that you want. So I think those three things, if you are consistent with your spiritual practices, your mindset practices, and releasing unhealed emotions that are not serving you, you will see your life transform. These are the things that I've done in my life to create, alhamdulillah, a really, really fulfilling, happy, pleasant life. So I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you guys the next time I'm inspired. My salams.